Hey guys, welcome back to Wild Born Outdoors. Today we're just heading out to look for some pronghorn bucks, really scout out this area, maybe find a shooter, but mainly just get a bunch of footage. And yeah, it should be fun. We're mainly sticking to roads today. That's mainly what I do when I'm scouting for pronghorn because, I mean, there's so many roads everywhere for one that you could really go a long ways before you have to start putting boots on the ground. As well as everything's pretty flat, and so it's hard to get good footage when they're 3 miles away in the heat mirage and everything anyway. So, but yeah, that's what we're doing. Should be a good day, just chilling in the truck and taking as many roads as I can, looking for antelope. Today, getting footage from the truck, we'll be using the Tracer RH. This thing is really sweet. It's really easy to get that quick footage from the truck, whether it be a quick situation or you're just sitting there filming. Sometimes I even throw my camera on it, so I throw my camera, binos, spotting scope on it, and it all holds pretty dang steady. So been a game changer for, I'm not much of a road hunter, but for scouting, especially for pronghorn. So put it on like this, tighten your knob down, ready to go. This knob is for your ball head, so it moves like that. It was pretty much right where I wanted it. Grab the spotter. Slap the spotter on there. Quick release. It's on there. It's not moving anywhere. See that? Pretty rock steady. And then you can move it however you want. Then I got the on on there for footage. Pretty sweet system. That is the Tracer RH. And when we do hop out of the truck, we are running the Tracer, of course, the Tracer AD, and then we have the DZ head, pan head / ball head that I absolutely love, and then of course my spotter, and then we're using the all-in snapshot system to get the digiscoping footage that you guys mostly see, you know, when I video animals and stuff like that. So awesome setup, love the setup, super stable, super crisp. Hope you guys are enjoying the footage out of it. I think it's pretty dang good for how light and durable this setup is. So the biggest thing with pronghorn, especially hunting them, putting on a stalk, is their eyesight. Their eyesight is absolutely insane. I swear they can see 360 vision. Pretty sure they can see more than 180 since their eyes are on the side of their heads. But it is absolutely crazy. And so, like, my number one thing when I'm worried about when I'm putting on a stalk is staying low. And I don't mean crawling, because most of the time crawling is not good enough. You know, you're even a slight rise will be plenty enough to put on a stalk, but you got to know how to put your, you know, belly to the ground and get as low as possible, moving as slow as possible, slower than you ever think possible. And this is for every animal stalking. I think everybody needs to slow down to, I mean, 2 times the amount that they think they're already doing. But especially for pronghorn, man, I've even when I go up to get a range, I'm probably taking, I don't know, I don't want to over exaggerate it, but it's probably like 5 minutes. By the time I'm all the way down to my belly and I have to get all the way high enough to where I can get a range on them, it probably takes me 5 minutes to go from belly all the way up to get a range, and then 5 minutes back down, because when you go that slow, they don't see you. You know, it's not like you're just popping over a rise and they see you all of a sudden. You're just going real slow up and then really, really slow down, and so they don't see you at all, from my experience, and for any animal, but especially pronghorn, it is very important. So stay as low as possible, as well as go really slow when you make any movement whatsoever, whether it's going toward them or side to side or trying to get a range or even going up to draw and stuff. Really, really, really slow. As far as scouting goes, I like to stay on roads, like I've said before. I like to hit every single road, little trail system that I can, 2 tracks, every single road that I can first before putting boots on the ground, because for one, there's so many roads out here that you can pretty much hit everything and see everything. Since it's super flat everywhere, there's no sense in walking 3 miles in the flat stuff when you could just drive roads around that flat stuff to look into it and see bucks. There's not really a point in walking all that when there's roads. Even if there's not roads, it's better to just glass from afar, in my opinion. You'll just be wasting your time. It's super hot out here, and so you just be wasting energy and time, especially if it's on your hunt and you're not pre-scouting before the hunt. I use my spotting scope for most of it. When the heat mirage gets bad, you gotta back up a bit, and so sometimes I use my binos or my camera even to video or take photos of that footage, because the heat mirage gets pretty insane out in this flat stuff, as you guys probably know. Another thing to keep in mind when you're trying to find a buck, not only a decent buck, but I would like to put them behind a slight rise. Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy at all. It doesn't have to be a ditch, which those situations are even better. Having a ditch, I have had a couple stalks where there's just this giant 10-foot ditch, and I was able to stay super 100% hidden and get within 50 yards, and I probably could have got closer if I was smart about it. But you don't need hardly anything. I mean, like, a little bump is good enough if you stay on your belly. And so, you know, I wouldn't go past a buck that I saw in some flat, or it so looked flat. And then, you know, if you go around, you'll be able to find those little divots and little rolls in the hills, and I would definitely not pass up those opportunities, because I actually like being more flat than high, because again, they have amazing eyesight, and they'll catch you a skyline, or they'll catch you rise over the hill above them, and they just really don't like that. They'll get out of there really fast, rather than sometimes they can't even see you, or they see some movement and they're like, what the heck is that? And they still can't really pick out your body when you're that low and in the tall grass, and maybe there's like a slight hill in front and a slight hill in behind, so they really can't see you, rather than going up high and just skylining yourself. Another thing, when you have put on a good stalk on a good buck, and you're at that point where you're either waiting for him to stand to draw, or you're actually going to draw. And one thing I've noticed, and this is pretty much with any animal, and it's kind of obvious, I guess, but definitely 100% crucial for antelope to draw behind whatever you're sitting behind first, and then slowly, again, even if it takes you a long time to rise up to where you can see him and get a shot, slowly rise up, and then you'll be able to take that shot. I've had so many times where I tried to draw either midway looking up, or, you know, after I am looking up, or trying to guess the range, and it just does not work. So definitely go up, range first, go down, draw behind whatever you're sitting behind, and then slowly go up until you could see him and enough to get a shot. These animals have way better eyesight than you think, and it is very crucial, again, to be slow and do everything behind the hill or rise or grass or bush or whatever the heck you're behind that you're stalking him into, before, you know, blowing him out. Another tip for scouting these suckers, I mean, you realize how small an antelope is when you walk up onto them, and these things are tiny. Like, something may look completely flat and have like a couple creases maybe, or, you know, something that like you can glass and you'd be like, all right, there's nothing in there. But 99% of the time when I glass something like that, and I'm like, yeah, something could be in there, but I think I could be able to see, you know, horns sticking up or something. So I just, you know, leave it and go on to the next spot. Oftentimes, whether I'm walking on a stalk and I bump something out, or I reach that little crease or draw, I end up bumping stuff out, because, man, they hide so freaking well. You wouldn't think so, because, I don't know, their color stands out pretty well. Most of the time they do sit in the flat stuff, but oftentimes I do come up into those creases, and there will be a buck bedded in that crease to where you can't even see him, and sometimes a whole herd of antelope that I couldn't see because of that. So even though, you know, you're on the road, you think you could see everything, maybe even if it's like a crease 50 yards to 100, even a few hundred yards off the road, either go walk it, or try to get into a position where you can see into those creases to really be able to, you know, not pass up goats that are right off the side of the road that you're missing because they're right on the other side of a hill. Sometimes I even drive, so I'm driving in front of this hill and I'm like, man, that looks like a really good hill. And every single time when I pass a hill like that, I look behind me, you know, even driving, I look behind me and make sure there's nothing behind that hill, because oftentimes I will see them when I'm already way past that hill. Sometimes even, you know, a few hundred yards down the road, I could actually start to see in there, and all of a sudden there's antelope there, and I turn around and you can put on a stalk or whatnot. But definitely don't overlook those close hills, those little crevices. Just like, you know, mule deer in the desert, you know, you really gotta pick out pieces that they could really hide in and that you may not be able to see from where you're at. So sometimes field judging can be very difficult when scouting pronghorn. You know, they're far away or they may be close, but the heat mirage is terrible, and so it's really hard to pick out the shape of the horns exactly and the cutters and all that. And so one thing that's very important to me when I'm looking at a pronghorn before I go after it, because, you know, you could put on a few hour long stalk in that flat stuff and you can go up to it and you're gonna be like, oh, he's smaller than I thought, I'm not gonna shoot it. And so one way of doing it is getting closer, obviously, but most of the times I don't get closer. I just watch him for, say, an hour, you know, just in case he is smaller than you think. 1 hour, wasting 1 hour is better than wasting 4 hours on a stalk. And so I wait until he turns every single way, you know, looks at me, looks away, sideways views, slightly quartering away, just to see all those views of what his horns look like before I go in on the stalk. Because those antelope, whether they have a big long swoop behind and you can't see that from the front, or sometimes even the slightly side view, or he has straight up horns and you think he's a great buck, but he has no curl behind that, and you know, you can only see that from the, you know, you can only see the curl from the back or the sideways view, and so you didn't see that, and so you thought he was, you know, just this super giant buck because he's super tall, but he has nothing behind that curl. It's really important to take your time, sit there for, like I said, an hour, or as long as, you know, he does a few 360s and you're 100% sure. Another piece of information that you guys can use this year hunting pronghorn is that these animals, whether you blow a stalk or they get up to feed, they oftentimes only feed for a little bit. And I have actually put on stalks when they are feeding. Again, you just need a slight rise or whatnot, make sure their head is down or facing directly away when you move. But even when you bump one, or he you know, he starts moving again mid-stalk or whatever, just be patient, wait it out. And most oftentimes than not, these bucks will bed pretty soon after. Like, they don't, you know, they'll even bed in the wide open. Like, they just they get up to feed for a little bit and they bed down, they get a drink, they bed down. You know, they bed down a ton during the day. It's not like the 3 beds that a deer does, or something like that. Like, it's pretty consistent with just all day beds sometimes with antelope. And so just be patient. Even if you blow a stalk, sit there and wait and really glass him up, you know, keep an eye on him until he makes that bed again. He's not going to go far before he makes that bed, and the next day he might even be in the exact same spot you just put the stalk on. So it's really important to be patient. I will say that for the earlier in the year, you do not want to use decoys. I see a lot of guys, you know, oh, it's my first time going pronghorn hunting, we're going to slap this decoy on there because why not? It probably works. And it may work 1 time out of 20 or 1 time out of 10 maybe, but from my experience in the early season, it does not work hardly at all. They're just not that dumb yet. They're not that they're not rutting hard, losing their minds yet. And so for me anyways, and I put on dozens and dozens, hundreds of stalks, maybe even thousands of stalks on pronghorn, both in rifle and archery, and decoys hardly ever work. They have worked, they're very few number of times, but I would rather stay hidden. You know, with a decoy you have more movement, and so I would rather stay completely hidden, just do your duties and work hard to put on a stalk, put them behind a, you know, some sort of hill or structure, and just put on a really good stalk that way and stay hidden rather than trying to depend walking straight at them with a decoy. But if you are going to use a decoy, I highly recommend shooting with it before you take it out, because that thing acts like a flag in the wind, like a sail. Like it just like, any little bit of wind, it's gonna affect your bow like crazy. That's another reason why I mean, now I hate doing it. I'm never gonna use a decoy again. But if you are using one, man, that wind really affects it, and that shot is gonna be way out of whack if you don't practice beforehand. Alrighty guys, well, we are headed back. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the information and got something from it. If you did, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more. We're going to be doing a lot of filming hunts this year, and I've got 8 big game tags, so it should be one heck of a time. Antelope season is here in 10 days. That's when my first outing or hunting trip will be, and so absolutely pumped for that. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, enjoyed the footage, as well as got something from the information I gave. Catch you guys in the next one.